is on. Hello, 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 everyone. Good evening, good evening. How do we do? It's another episode of Honest Conversations with Chin as a favor, and I'm really excited for this one because we have a whole lot to learn. A whole lot to learn. I'm very excited. Very excited because many tables will be broken tonight, but that's why we are here. That's what life is all about. If a table is no longer serving us, it's important that we just break it and trash it, isn't it? So I see two people are watching. Please comment, let me know that you are here. Share the link with your friends. Good evening, Rebecca. You are always on time. I should give you an award. Who else is on? Please comment. Let me see here. All right, before we go into what we have today. Good evening, Patrick Precious. It's good to have you here. Who else? Thank you very much for joining this session. It's going to be an explosive session, like I said before. It's going to be a wonderful session because many people have been walked on, many people have been run over for not having boundaries. And tonight, we are going to break those cycles so that we can have the life that we want to have, so that we can be able, so that we can actually live the life that we want to live and command the respect that we need others to have for us. All right. So who else is here? I have Amarachi Isaac. It's good to have you here. Thanks for tuning in. Nature's Concepts. Thanks for tuning in. Jemima, it's good to have you. Is this your first time here? Comment, let me know. Is this your first time here? Because I've not seen your name before in this conversation. Rebecca says, I just received the notification now. And I rush here. You are always here. Thank you very much. Patrick Precious says, yeah, I was excited when it was announced and I'm happy I'm joining. I'm very happy you are here. Thank you very much. Thank you. This topic on the boundaries should be discussed. Exactly, Jemima. It needs to be discussed because a lot has gone wrong. A lot of water has gone under the bridge. And it's only a matter of time before the bridge begins to break, isn't it? So we better get things done. OC Dennis, you are always here too. Thank you very much for tuning in. Tonight, we will be discussing boundaries. The almighty boundaries. Hold on, let me get a cushion so that we can do this well. Yes. So we'll be discussing the almighty boundaries. Boundaries. Why did I choose this topic for our conversation? Okay, Jemima says, yes, it's my first. Wow, thank you. I'm sure you're going to have an explosive time. I'm sure you're going to have a wonderful time with me here tonight. Okay, so we'll be discussing boundaries. Boundaries. What are they? I mean, what the heck are boundaries and why should you have them? There are other subheadings in between those two, but we are going to look majorly at what boundaries are, why you need to have boundaries, and how you can have boundaries. So before I get started, I'm going to tell you a story. Some time ago, as a social media personality, you're dishing out value, like people would say. And it wasn't long before I started getting invited to platforms, many platforms. In a week, I could talk on about 5 platforms in a week. And if you're a public speaker, I didn't even know what public speaking was then, but if you're a public speaker, you know how long it takes to prepare a presentation. For me, it comes quite easy for me, quite natural. I could prepare a presentation in just 1 hour to the time I'm supposed to present, and I'll do that flawlessly. You wouldn't even know that. It wasn't a long time I prepared that note, but it was taking my time, So when it started, I was happy that I was being invited to various platforms. But as I grew bigger, it became more like a chore, a duty for me. And it was very burdensome. So because I had already started saying yes, I didn't know how to say no because majority of my speaking engagements were to preach, not preach per se, but to talk from, take topics from the scriptures and talk. So I was like, I shouldn't even be saying no, because I don't want to hurt these people. And two, saying no will mean that I don't want to preach or to share God's word with people, or to share the message that God has given me with people. So it made me to just continue saying yes and yes and yes, even when it was very, very inconveniencing for me. I remember spending the whole night preparing for a presentation, and on getting to the place of the presentation, it was an online program, a WhatsApp program. On getting there, it was just the speaker that was responding all through that meeting, and I was very mad. I was like, is this it? Is this it? I inconvenienced myself to be here, and these people couldn't even, come on to receive whatever that I had to give. So that was when I knew that, Chinaza, it is important that you set boundaries, that you learn to say no. I didn't know how to say no. Oh God, no, I didn't know how to say no. I was always saying yes to people, to requests, not just to speaking engagements, but in my personal life too. I was always saying no. I didn't know how to say no to people. I was always saying yes. So even when I was sick, when I was dying, I just kept on saying yes and yes and yes. But then when I decided to say no, the day I said no, it was the most guilty feeling I'd ever felt, but it was the most empowering I'd ever felt, honestly. So it dawned on me that, wow, you need to start doing this more often. So since that time till now, I only take engagements that I am comfortable in. I only take engagements that I know that I will be at my best functioning. If I'm not at my best, I know that I will not be able to perform well. So I decline. And as a matter of fact, when I have lots of things on my table, if you invite me for anything, or you ask me, or you make any request, even in my personal life, in my family members, if they make any request of me, if I know that I will not be able to do it well, or that I'm not disposed to do it, I politely decline. I've been able to set that boundary, but like I wrote in the copy that I sent out, there are several other ways to set boundaries other than no. No is just one of the many ways of setting boundaries, or one of the many boundaries that we can set in our lives. But as the conversation progresses, you are going to see more. So first of all, my note is full, a lot to discuss. First of all, what are boundaries? What are boundaries? And before we talk about boundaries, what are signs that you don't have boundaries? How do you even know that you don't have boundaries? Finolua, thanks for joining. Christiana, thanks for tuning in. I appreciate you. What are signs that you don't have boundaries? How do you even know that you don't have boundaries? How do you know that you are an open book? How do you know? The first thing here is that you hate letting people down. You just really, really hate letting people down. You don't want people to feel bad. You don't want people to be disappointed in you. So you just keep on accepting requests. You just keep on doing what they ask you to do, even when you know that you are not in the best position to do it. You just hate letting people down. It is one sign that you don't have boundaries. And letting people down does not mean disappointing them when they have expectations of you, healthy expectations of you. No. Letting them down in the sense that you feel that they're going to feel bad that you did not say yes to their request. Okay? The second one is you find it very difficult to say no. I think that is the clearest and the most obvious sign of one who doesn't have boundaries. You don't ever say no. You always say yes and yes and yes. It is a sign that you don't have boundaries. You feel guilty when you say no. Oh my goodness. When I said no for the first time, I felt like I was just something else. Like, I felt really terrible. How could you say no, Chinaza? How could you say no? How could you say no? I was beating myself up. But I knew it was necessary for me. I knew it was a healthy decision that I made for myself. but I was just feeling bad. Okay, so this is to tell you that whenever you start setting your boundaries and you say no and you feel guilty, it's okay, because over time you're going to start feeling comfortable saying no. Like me, I say no these days anytime and anyhow. In fact, you see that word, I'm sorry, I can't. Those are my favorite words these days. And it has helped me to have peace in my life, to have harmony in my life. Okay? Another one here is you always want to be in people's good book. You always want to be in people's good book. That is one of the ways to know that you don't have boundaries. You are this kind of person that likes people to like you. You like people to like you. You are needful. You are needing. You want people's approval. So you always do things that will earn you their approval. That is a very, very big sign of someone who doesn't have boundaries. You don't want people to see you as bad or selfish or unkind. No, that is not what boundaries are. When you don't have boundaries, you always want to be on people's good book. Pay attention to that. But another one is you don't speak up when you need to. You don't speak up when you need to. Even when you feel really bad that something is happening, you just keep calm, you keep quiet, because you don't want, for whatever reason, because you don't want to appear bad. So you just keep on keeping quiet in the face of injustice, in the face of insult, in the face of maltreatment. Even when you could have spoken up or spoken out, you didn't say anything. It is a huge sign that you don't have boundaries. Okay? Another one is you are what others want you to be. So you want to do this, but people want you to do this. Okay? You want to do this, your mom wants you to do this, your sister wants you to do this, your friend wants you to do this. And instead of staying true to who you are and what you want to do, you find yourself doing what other people want you to do. You ignore your own instincts, you ignore your own needs in your bid to please other people. You do what they want you to do. You don't have boundaries. Another one is no one listens to you. I mean, why would they listen to you? If you feel unheard, it is a sign that you don't have boundaries, because you don't. Why should they even listen to someone that they can dictate what he or she does? I mean, think I'm now. If now you, what would you do? If you could always tell me what to do, if I was always giving in to what you want me to do, why would you listen to me? I mean, you will always downplay my thoughts and my inputs. You would always want me to do what you want me to do. So why pay attention to me? If no one listens to you, it's a sign that you are not respected and honored. Your opinion does not count, and it is a huge sign that you don't have boundaries. Okay? The last one here is that you feel like you have lost your voice. You feel like you are powerless. You feel like you're hopeless. You feel like you're not in control of your life. You don't have boundaries, and it is time you started putting some in place. Okay, like I said before, after this session, many people that are in your life are going to leave. Okay, many of them are going to leave, not because they are bad, but for some other reason that we are going to discuss here. Okay, so all these things that I just wrote here can be summed up in one sentence. You are a people pleaser. One sign that you don't have boundaries is that you are a people pleaser. So you always want to please people. You always want to be in their good book. You always want to make them happy at the detriment of your own happiness, ignoring your own needs, your own happiness, ignoring yourself and your instincts. You don't have boundaries. So what are boundaries? What are boundaries not? What are the myths surrounding boundaries? When we hear boundaries, people say, no, I don't want, why should I have boundaries? Boundaries are going to make me do this. Boundaries are going to make me look like this. Let me burst some myths for you. Okay? Boundaries are not brick walls to keep people out. Boundaries, again, are not brick walls to keep people out. No, that is not what boundaries are. Boundaries provide a safe space for you. Boundaries don't keep people out. Boundaries allow the right people in. Okay? Boundaries keep only the wrong people out. Boundaries allow the right people in. So if you set boundaries in your life and people start to leave, it means that they were benefiting from you not having boundaries. And so now that you have put boundaries in place, they just cannot be in your life. Even if they were giving you money before, it was because you were boundaryless. You didn't have any boundary. They could walk on you, and so they would compensate your lack of boundary with the little drop of money that they were giving you. And so you feel like, yeah, they like me. It's because they were taking advantage of you. So possibly they were feeling guilty, so they were giving you that money or whatever privilege you think you have, or they were giving you to compensate their conscience or to satisfy their conscience. All right. So boundaries are not brick walls that keep people out. Boundaries are not barriers. When we think of boundaries, boundaries are not supposed to keep the right people out. They are supposed to solidify and your relationships and make your relationships worthwhile. Okay? Boundaries are supposed to make your relationships worthwhile. Boundaries are supposed to make your relationships beautiful and not to create a distance between you and your partner. Because when you clearly define your boundaries and communicate your boundaries, your partner knows how exactly to treat you, how exactly to love and respect you. Instead of just thinking and thinking and thinking, you've just made the work easier for them. If they are there to stay, they are going to respect your boundaries, and you also respect theirs. I mean, it's going to be a cozy environment for both of you, isn't it? And the people that are around you, even though you're not in a relationship, but you're able to have clear and defined boundaries. It's going to help your relationships to work better because you know what to expect from each and every other person, and they know what to expect from you. Okay? Boundaries this is a myth, that boundaries are unkind, that boundaries make you selfish, or that boundaries means that you are wicked. That is not true. What you are doing is that you are protecting your sanity and you are ensuring that you are in the best state possible to serve others. Okay? Boundaries don't mean that you are selfish, even though a level of selfishness is needed for you to set boundaries and stick to them. Because if you're not selfish to a certain degree, people will always step on you. All right. But when you are selfish to the point where you just want your own happiness, not at the detriment of others, but you want to be happy so that you can give happiness to others, so that you can easily flow with others. Yes, that is what you need. That kind of healthy boundaries. Okay, it doesn't make you wicked, it doesn't make you selfish, it doesn't make you unkind. Important. Another myth is that boundaries means ghosting. Boundaries don't mean hosting. I'm ghosting people. Like, let's say someone offended you some time ago, and they didn't even realize that they offended you. So you when they try to communicate with you next time, another time, you just ghost them. You don't reply their calls, you don't text back, you just cease communication with them. That is a barrier, not a boundary. Okay, you are actually the one bringing yourself down to the point where you can't even communicate what you want. If they offended you, it's important that you let them know that this is what you did that I didn't like. Okay, that way they will know what to respect, they will know how to treat you. But when you ghost other people or you ignore other people, that is not a boundary that you're setting. You are just set barriers that would create distance between you and other people. Okay, boundaries don't make your relationships suffer. I've said that before. They make your relationships stronger. Okay, because I will not be mutual respect and love and connection. I know exactly how to love you. I know exactly how to respect you. I know exactly what to do to make you happy. I know exactly the kind of space that you need. And so I'm giving it to you. I'm not trying to figure out the kind of environment that you should be in or we can be in. You've just told me the kind of environment that feels safe and peaceful for you. And so for me to be also safe and peaceful, I have to give you your space. And you also give me mine. Boundaries make relationships a lot better. Okay? Boundaries are not about right and wrong. They are about safety, sanity, and respect. Boundaries are not about right and wrong. They are about safety, sanity, and respect. For you, for you, for you. Okay? It's not about this is right or this is wrong. Again, it's about your sanity, your safety, your respect for yourself, and your respect for others. It is always, always better to have boundaries, because if you don't have boundaries, please take note of this. If you don't have boundaries, people will always work on you. If you don't tell people how to treat you, they're going to treat you the way they deem fit. It is going to make people to just treat you based on what they are already what they are used to, based on their experiences, or based on their selfish reasons. They want to use you because you are always available, and so you keep being used and you start feeling resentful. It is important that you set boundaries for yourself. So now let's go into what boundaries are. Okay, let me read your comments and see what we have here. Rebecca said boundaries. Yes, you really need to set boundaries. KSTV says, when I practiced saying no, it was one of the best decisions I made. I feel you. Believe me, I feel you. Adenike, thanks for being here. Good evening. We make it easier for them. Yes, exactly. KSTV says, if you are not selfishly good for your own happiness, you allow people to step on you. That's true. Jemima says, this same thing happened to me. I was pissed. Since then, I decided to learn how to decline politely. Okay, that's very, very good, because as long as you keep showing that you're available, there will never be, people will never run out of requests to make of you. But when you show that you are busy, you have other priorities, they are going to respect your space. All right. So let's get started on what boundaries are. So we've seen signs that you don't have boundaries. We've seen what boundaries are not, or the myths surrounding boundaries. But now we are going to see what boundaries are. I have a few definitions here. Just let me know. Tell me, give me your own definition. What do you think boundaries are based on what we've already discussed here now? What are boundaries? How do you define boundaries? If someone comes up to you and asks you, what are boundaries? What are you going to say? Let me know. I'll be reading out the definitions that I have here while I wait for your comments, okay? So the first one that I have here is that boundaries are limits that you put in place to protect your well-being. Limits that you put in place to protect your well-being. Again, limits that you put in place to protect your well-being. So boundaries can be synonymous to limits. What are your limits? What are your boundaries? Okay, so they can be interused, or they can be exchanged one for the other. Another definition that I have here is that boundaries are a boundary is a reflection of your principles, rules, and guidelines that you have set for yourself. Principles, rules, and guidelines that you've set for yourself. Hello, Favor Dinaka. Thanks for joining. You say, I always find it difficult to say no, but from today, I will set boundaries. Of course, you will set boundaries. Thanks for joining. The second definition again, a boundary is a reflection of your principle, rules, and guidelines that you have set for yourself. According to Ivanla, she said, a boundary is a demonstration of self-respect and respect for others. A demonstration of self-respect and respect for others. Again, a demonstration of self-respect, respect for yourself, and respect for others. It is a structure or request you put in place to exclude or limit people, places, experiences that are not aligned with your value and who you are. Boundaries are limitations. They are structures and requests expectations you put in place to limit and exclude experiences, people who don't honor your values and are not aligned with them. You are putting those limits in place to put away those things that don't serve you, those things that are not aligned with who you are. This is very, very important when we get to how to set boundaries. Okay, I'm going to repeat that definition again. A boundary is a structure, a request, or expectation you put in place to exclude or limit people and experiences that don't honor your value and aligned with who you are. Okay? Rebecca says boundaries are limits you set to things you do. Okay? Simple and beautiful. Hello, David Bolaji. Thanks for being here. Another one that I have here is that boundaries keep us safe from internal and external intrusion. They keep us safe. Remember, I said that the purpose for boundaries is sanity, safety, and what? Respect. Sanity, safety, and respect. So boundaries keep us safe from internal and external intrusion. They keep us safe from internal intrusion and external intrusion. They ensure that our space is safe, that we are in the best position, that we're in the best space for ourselves, in the best mental space for ourselves, and in the best mental position or state for others. It is about you and then about others. It's not about others and then about you. There is a statement I'm going to make later on that will make you understand this statement that I just made, okay? Boundaries make and keep us aware. Pay attention to these last two definitions. They're very, very important. Boundaries make and keep us aware of what we can do for others. They make and keep us aware of what we can do for others. Now, this is for you, not for the other person, all right? They make you aware of how far you are willing to go for others. They make you aware of what you are willing to do for others, the sacrifices that you are willing to make for others. Okay? Your boundaries make them aware to you. They make them tangible and clear to you how far you're willing to go for anyone. For anyone, if they are making requests that are beyond you, that are beyond the limits that you've set for yourself, you will learn to say no, because you can't just exceed this boundary that you've set for yourself. I mean, I can only come this far for others. I'm not going to put myself in the fire just because I want to be a good person or because I want to be perceived as kind or as selfless. I'm not Jesus. I'm not going to die for you. Okay? Hello. Yes, I'm not going to die for you. So I am putting boundaries in place to keep me in check so I can know this is my limit. This is how far I am willing to go for anyone. Now, when it comes to a romantic relationship, there should be a room for compromise. There should be a room for, one or two flexibilities. But on a general scale, there has to be a limit. You have to be conscious of that limit where you can't go further. Okay, in your different kinds of boundaries. There are different kinds of boundaries here that we are going to discuss. So you need to know your limits. You need to define your limit to yourself and to others. Okay. The next one that I have here is that boundaries make others. The first one was make us aware, right? Now, this second one is boundaries make others aware of what we would expect, of what we would allow, what we would accommodate, and what we would tolerate. Okay? Boundaries make others aware of what we would accept, what we would allow, accommodate, and tolerate from them. Hey, we need to talk. These are the things that I can accept this, okay? I can allow this. I can accommodate this. I can tolerate this. But this is a huge no for me, all right? Those ones are deal breakers. They are the red zones of boundaries. So you need to know exactly what you want. You need to make others aware of that too. We are coming to that when we get to how to do what? Set boundaries for yourself. All right? So why do you need boundaries? Why exactly do you need boundaries? I can say that these are benefits of having boundaries, okay? Your having boundaries allows you to be your true self. Having boundaries allows you to be your true self. Having boundaries gives you the space to be yourself. When you are yourself, you are able to set limits here and there that allow you to be yourself, to be in your truest self. Okay? So when you don't have boundaries, you just live a fake life because you don't have values, you don't have things that you live by. You live by everything. I mean, there's no life more shallow and meaningless than that. But when you have values, when you have boundaries, you are able to live your best life, your truest life, regardless of what is going on around you. You have set that space for yourself. You have created that safe space for yourself and for your mental health, where you are not under pressure or where you are not coerced into being like every other person or doing what every other person is doing or allowing people to tell you what to do. All right. Having boundaries creates realistic expectations. Okay. When you have boundaries, you're able to communicate to your spouses or to your partners or to your friends what you can allow. Remember what we said, the last definition was what you can accept, what you can allow, what you can accommodate, and what you can do what? Tolerate. So when you have boundaries and you're able to communicate them to your friends or to your partners or whoever you're doing life with, you're able to set realistic expectations because how can they love you without knowing what your boundaries are? So that expectation is already realistic. They already know exactly how to love you. They already know how exactly to treat you. So it is easier for them to follow that path because you've created it for them. Okay. Having boundaries creates safety. Having boundaries creates safety. I cannot overemphasize this. I cannot say this enough. Having boundaries creates a safe space for you. Physical boundaries, emotional boundaries. We have lots of them here that we're going to discuss. It creates a safe space for you. When you don't have boundaries, you are open to any kind of abuse, to any kind of treatment. But when you have boundaries, you have respect. Boundaries are used to communicate self-worth and respect. When you have boundaries and you communicate them, you're telling people, I have self-worth, I have respect, and I'm protecting my dignity. I'm not letting you to talk me down. I'm not letting you to say any word that doesn't align with me, that doesn't go down well with me. So you just set those boundaries for yourself for you to be safe. You don't want to be in a place where you feel threatened, where you feel even emotionally threatened. You don't want to be in that kind of space. So you set your boundaries from the beginning. Okay? Boundaries, benefits of having boundaries is that you are treated how you want to be treated. You are treated how you want to be treated. I went for a women program in the month of February. So one of the ladies there that talked, she said that in the beginning of her relationship with her husband, before they got married, they were in a car. They were in a car driving, and they were talking and talking and talking and talking. And all of a sudden, they were cracking jokes. And all of a sudden, the husband to be called her big head. She said immediately he said that, she halted the conversation and told him, no matter what we say, whether jokingly or in an argument, don't you call me names. Don't you call me names. You see, all these names that are even simple and common to be called, that people call themselves, don't call me that. I don't accept it. My friends know that I don't accept such names. Even if we are joking, don't even call me those names. She said from that day onwards, they have been married for 11 years now. She said from that day till that same day she was talking to us, said the husband never called her names. Even if they are in a heated argument, he never called her names because she was able to set that boundary. Hey, this is the way I want to be treated. This is the way I want to be talked to. Even if we are quarreling, even if we are having a disagreement, you talk to me with respect. Okay? So you let them know and they can treat you that way. But if you allow them, when you don't tell people how to treat you, they will treat you anyhow. So they'll treat you the way they know people should be treated, even if it's wrong or right. But people treat you the way you allow them to treat you. So you are the one to communicate your worth, your esteem, how you want to be treated, and they are going to follow. The problem is that we don't even have boundaries. We don't even communicate. So how are they supposed to know how to treat us? But we keep feeling bad and resentful and all that. So communicate your boundaries. One of the ways one of the benefits is that you get treated the way you want to be treated, all right? Another one is you are in the best position to help others. You are in the best position to help others. This is the part that I like the most. I'm all about giving. I'm all about helping others. I'm all about service and humanitarianism and philanthropy. But if you don't have boundaries, you are going to get burnt out. Okay? Put your oxygen mask first. This was the statement I told I was going to make later. If this house is burning and we are three in this room and I want to save the next person, I'm not going to save the person without taking care of myself, ensuring that I'm safe before saving that person. No, I have to ensure that I have my oxygen mask first. If you are in an airline, if you're in an airplane, and the hostesses are telling you how to navigate an airplane in case of an emergency, they will tell you, please put your nose mask first before you attend to the person close to you, maybe a child or an older person who cannot quickly do theirs. Make sure you have your own nose mask first. Save yourself before you want to save others. Save yourself before you save others. So many pastors have died out of exhaustion. Do you know that? Do you know that? They died, we say they died at their posts. Is it true that they died at their posts? It could be that they didn't have boundaries. They just couldn't say no. So they kept on saying yes, coming from this crusade, they're jumping into another. They keep working themselves out and they die before their time. So having boundaries is very important because if you die, life goes on. So you need to be able to save yourself before you save others. You need to have your own oxygen mask first before any other person. I hope that is clear. All right. So another benefit is that you attract quality partners and friends. It is true, boundaries keep people out. But the people that boundaries keep out, the people that your boundaries keep out, are the people who feel threatened by your boundaries. They're the people who are used to your boundaryless self. They're the people who are used to you not having boundaries, the you that didn't have boundaries. So when you start putting boundaries in place, they become uncomfortable and so they might just want to excuse you. It's fine, let them go. You know your worth now and you deserve to be treated a certain way. So communicating that is never a crime. If not, you continue being a walkover for other people. You continue being a tool for other people to achieve their purposes. Okay? Having boundaries will bring the right people who will honor those values, who will honor those boundaries that you have set, will come. They will come. Remember, I said boundaries, not barriers. When you set healthy boundaries for yourself, toxic people will have to make way for the right people to come in. So never feel bad for setting boundaries that keep you safe and keep you sane. All right? Boundaries make you feel empowered. They make you feel empowered when you are finally able to communicate what you want and you get treated the way you want to be treated. You feel empowered. Even if you don't get treated and the person walks away, you feel like you found your voice. You feel empowered. You feel like, finally, I'm able to even say something. Right? Am I communicating? Please let me know. If you are getting something from this session, put in the fire emoji. Let me see you. Let me see that. Boundaries make you feel empowered when you're finally able to own your voice, when you're finally able to speak up. That step you took into speaking up makes you feel empowered. Not just making you feel empowered, you are automatically empowered because not many people have that courage to even speak up and communicate their boundaries to their loved ones or their friends and relatives and workers and colleagues and every other person around them or that they associate with. Another one is that boundaries increase your sense of worth, increase your self-confidence. I see your fire emoji, Patrick Precious. Thank you. Boundaries increase your sense of worth. Because when you get treated the way you want to be treated, you have no reason to feel insecure. So it is important that you have boundaries. It is absolutely important that you have boundaries. So what happens when you don't have boundaries? We've touched a little bit on them early on. What happens when you don't have boundaries? The first one is you keep getting burnt out. You keep getting tired. You keep feeling used. You keep getting tired. Let me even start from there. Burnt out, exhausted. Even when you've not done so much, but because you keep saying yes and yes and yes, you are dragged on all directions. At the end of the day, you say that you've not even done enough for yourself. You've done a lot for others. And you feel burnt out. And the next day, the cycle continues. Your phone starts to ring, more messages keep coming into your phone. You start getting these requests again. It's a cycle. At the end of the day, again, you see that you've not done anything for yourself. You keep getting burnt out. That is what happens when you don't have boundaries. Another one is that you start feeling resentful. I started feeling like that at some point when I was saying yes to every speaking engagement I was getting. I started feeling resentful because I felt most of these people I wasn't paid for that. Most of these people don't even understand what it takes to do this, and they will not allow me to rest. Every day I'm receiving requests. Every time I'm going to speak. I was going to speak every single time. Every time I have one speaking engagement or the other, Chinaza Fever was everywhere. I was not being paid for that. I was not being rewarded for that. It was a charity work that I was doing. And so I started feeling bitter and resentful at some point. That was when I knew, Chinaza, Hannah, you don't have to continue like this. This is the work of God that you're doing, and you have to be in your best mental state to do it. So accept the ones that are comfortable for you, the ones that you can do, so that when you come to talk, you are giving them your very best. Okay, so you don't serve God in anger or in bitterness or in resentment, or you don't murmur when you are serving God, because He doesn't accept that kind of gift. If you are the kind of person that people are always calling to do things for them over and over and over again, you know that you're no longer happy doing those things, but you just can't stop yourself from saying no, from saying yes. You feel used. You feel nobody cares about you. It's all about what you can give to them. And the truth is, many of them are still in your life because of what they are getting from you. The day you start to say no to their requests, they'll vanish. And it is important that you have, you get to know those people. You get to know the people who are there in your life to stay, and those who are there to use you. Okay? So you become, when you don't have boundaries, people treat you the way they deem fit. I've talked extensively on that. If you don't tell me how to treat you, I will not know how to treat you. So I treat you the way I want you to be treated, the way my experiences have shown me that I can treat other people. I mean, we have different experiences. We come from different backgrounds. We've been exposed to different realities. So how I treat you is a reflection of what I have been exposed to. And if you allow it, I'm going to continue treating you like that. But if you communicate how you want me to be, how you want me to treat you, I'm going to respect that. If I still want to be in your life, if I still find you valuable, I'm going to respect that. If not, I'll take my leave. And you need to be okay with people taking their leave from your lives. Okay? When you don't have boundaries, you lose regard and respect. Of course, people will not really value you. They only value you when you are useful to them. They only value you when you can run their errands for them. So you lose your regard and your respect when you don't have boundaries, when you cannot say no. My goodness, do you know these days when I say no, when I finally say yes to an engagement, it's as if it's gold. Do you know why? Because I haven't been saying yes all this while. So that engagement is valued more than other times that I was saying yes, yes, yes. It's important. Learn to say no. Okay. When you don't learn to say no, when you don't put boundaries, when you don't have boundaries, when you don't set boundaries, you are going to lose regard and respect. Because why should I respect you when you are always trying to earn my approval? I mean, your sense of worth is based on me saying yes to you. So you just have to continue doing what I want you to do for you to continue getting my approval. It's that simple. It's not that hard, is it? I like this last one. What happens when you don't set boundaries? You make others less responsible for their lives. You make others less responsible for their lives and their actions. How and why? Because you are always doing things for them. If you are always at the beck and call of your mom, at the beck and call of your siblings, at the beck and call of your friends, they are not able to do things on their own. They are always depending on you. I mean, if there's a shoulder to carry my weight for me, why should I try to learn to carry my weight? And that is irresponsibility on my part because I cannot even shoulder my responsibilities. So when you don't have boundaries, you are making people less responsible for their lives and again for their actions. How do I mean? Because the root of not having boundaries can be traced to our childhood, our experiences. So if yours is coming from a place of I don't deserve to talk. So you are in a relationship, whatever that relationship is, with someone who always makes you feel responsible for their mess, for their inactions. So you are always taking blame. You are always shouldering the responsibility. You are always shouldering the blame for their mess. It doesn't make sense. You're making them irresponsible people, and they will carry on that mentality with people that they meet, with other people that they meet, and they keep messing their relationships up because not everyone will not have boundaries like you. If they get to meet someone who has boundaries, who has clear-cut boundaries, they're going to have issues upon issues upon issues. And so they feel like, this life safe, balance, right? But you are the one that made it unbalanced for them by taking every of their worries away. Are you God? No, tell me. You're not God. Okay. So we have different types of boundaries. Different types of boundaries. I when I was doing my research on this topic, I didn't find any definition or any categorization that included this first one that I'm going to talk about now. But I had to put it in my own categorization. All right. So we have intrapersonal boundaries and interpersonal boundaries. Okay, intrapersonal boundaries, the first one, that's my own addition, and interpersonal boundaries. So majority of the kinds of boundaries that you see on the net and every other place is personal boundaries, like interpersonal boundaries. But the first one I want us to discuss is intrapersonal boundaries. Okay, they are the boundaries that you set in yourself and within you. They are the boundaries that you set in yourself for yourself. How do I mean? Your thought processes and the words that you speak to yourself. This is very, very important. Very, very important. You have to set boundaries for yourself for thoughts that must not brood in your mind. Now, you're not responsible for the kind of thoughts that will come to your mind, but you are responsible for the kind of thoughts you allow to dwell in your mind. So let's say you want to be celibate, okay, or you're practicing sexual purity. You put that boundary in your mind that any thought that dishonors this value of mine will not dwell. I will not allow that thought to dwell. Okay? Or let's say you are on a journey to self-care and self-love, and you find yourself saying mean words to yourself, saying words that you wouldn't even say to another person, to yourself. You put a boundary in place that that stops those thoughts from continuing. So let's say you failed at something. What do you usually do? Someone like me would say, Chinas, I knew it. You are such a jerk. Now, if I set boundaries in place in my mind, immediately I say that word jerk, an alarm goes off in my mind. This is not allowed. This word is not allowed. So I am in charge of the words I say to myself. And I am very intentional about saying only positive words. Does that make sense? So intrapersonal boundaries are boundaries that help you become better as a human being. Boundaries that help you have the best mental orientation to wade through life more easily. Okay, so you can't say I'm not good enough, you can't say I'm ugly, you can't say I'm not beautiful. All those negative words should not be in your dictionary. That is part of intrapersonal boundaries. And you also have a boundary for how you eat. How you eat. Just because you are always hungry doesn't mean that you have to eat everything, or that you see a food, you want to eat it. It's not everything that you see that you eat. It's not everything that you want to do that you need to do. So that boundary that you've set for yourself, because you know that it is going to help me, it's going to help my physical health. Okay, so I'm not going to do anything that makes me feel bad, or I'm not going to put into my body anything that is not healthy for it. It is an intrapersonal boundary. It's a boundary you are taking for yourself. It's a boundary that you are setting for yourself, by yourself, to be honored by yourself, not even by others. We're not talking of others right now. We are talking of you. Okay? You must know what to drink. You must drink healthy. You must eat healthy. You must not say mean words to yourself. You must always communicate positivity to yourself. You must always allow positive thoughts into your mind. You must always brood on positive thoughts. If it's not positive, if they're not positive, out of the way, Satan. All right. Now let's get to interpersonal boundaries. Okay, before we get to interpersonal boundaries, also know when to rest. So let's say you are working, you set your alarm for 12 p.m. in the night, okay? And you're working or you're doing anything on your phone or whatever it is that you're doing. Once it is 12 p.m. in the night and your alarm goes off, you suspend whatever you are doing because you know that your body needs rest. Okay, it is an intrapersonal boundary. You're not doing it for anyone or for the accolades or for the approval of anybody. It is for your own safety, for your own well-being. Remember, the first definition that I gave is that boundaries are how did I write it there? The boundaries are limits you put in place to protect your well-being. Okay, so if you know that staying awake till 1 a.m. is going to be detrimental to your health, so you sleep by 12 when your alarm goes off. You are more productive during the day, right? So you don't have to keep late nights. You respect and honor your intrapersonal boundaries. Does that make sense to anybody here? Comment yes if this makes sense to you. Comment yes, yes, yes if this makes sense to you. Come on, let me see it. So we move on to interpersonal boundaries. Interpersonal boundaries are boundaries that are external, you know. The first one was intra, the other one is inter. So it could be with you and your surrounding, with you and other people, with you and any other thing that is not within you. Okay? So we have physical boundaries. Physical boundaries are boundaries that protect your body and your space. Physical boundaries are boundaries that protect your body and protect your space. So this is the kind of boundary that tells people that you have set for yourself how you want to be related with, the kind of people you want in your space, okay? Whether you would allow people to come into your room or not. Whether if you have, let's say you're in school and you have a roommate. If you're bathing in the bathroom, is that roommate supposed to come, allowed to come into the bathroom? If that roommate comes into the bathroom, are you going to feel violated or not? If you're going to feel violated, it's important that you communicate that boundary to that person. Okay? So you know how you want to be touched. If it is okay for people to hug you, you communicate that. If it is not okay for people to hug you or for people to touch your hair, there are people, myself, I don't mind when people touch my hair. Hey, Chinaza, is this your hair? It's so fine. It's beautiful. I say thank you. But for some people, it is a no for them. Don't touch my hair. Just don't touch it. Admire from a distance. So when someone comes to you and like, Chinaza, I like your hair, then can you please not touch it? I'm not comfortable when people touch my hair. It's a boundary for you and you've communicated it. For you to feel safe, if the person feels bad about it, it's their problem to deal with. But you know you're doing this to protect yourself. Maybe it could be that boundary could be coming from an experience you've had before that you don't want it to happen again. It is not a barrier, it's just a boundary. And you don't appreciate it when people touch your hair. So communicate it. Don't just start fuming inside. Can you please not touch my hair? I don't feel comfortable when people do that. You don't have to. Hey, don't touch my hair. That is being rude. Just communicate gently what your boundaries are, okay? And if people are used to coming into your room, maybe your parents or your sisters, can we have a talk? I understand that we are the same in this family, but I like my privacy. I'd really appreciate it if you knock on my door before you come in. It helps me it's a way of me protecting my privacy, okay? I hope you would understand. But I'm still coming to how to set your boundaries, okay? Because a lot still needs to be done there. Okay, so who should have a say in what you eat, what you drink? I mean, it's okay to have friends who are concerned about what you do and what you eat, but who should have the right to tell you what to eat? Now, this is not pride, okay? People like to pry into people's cases. People like to poke nose into cases that don't in any way concern them. So, if a friend of your friend joins you guys for lunch and you are making an order of what you want to eat and the food is brought, okay, all of you have ordered and the food is brought, and that friend looks at your plate and starts making some comments. Why did you have that? You shouldn't have that in your plate. I think you are too big for you to have that. Hey, just hold it there. Can you not tell me what to eat? Yes, you communicate it. You make it clear and plain just how far they can come so that they don't overstep their boundaries. And when they do, there is a consequence. We are coming to that. Okay? Then we have time boundaries, how you want your time to be spent, who deserves your time. So let's say, I have some examples here. When someone invites you for a party in the evening, and in your family, you've set the evenings, you've made the evenings family time from 8 p.m. till let's say 10 p.m. is family time. It's the time you have to chat and joke with your kids, play. Let's say you work during the day most of the time, and so you just set that evening for your family before you guys go to bed. And a friend of yours is inviting you for a party. You know you don't want to be in that party, okay? So what do? Don't say yes. You don't say that. You communicate it. I'm sorry, I cannot. I told you that my favorite words now are, I'm sorry, I can't. You communicate it. You say, I'm sorry, I cannot make it. My evenings are for family time. All right, my evenings are, I'm sorry, I can't come. You could stop there if you wish. But if it's a close friend of yours and you just want to give them a reason why you will not be able to make it, you just tell them, my evenings are for family time. Okay? Or people call you, someone like me that people call every single time, even till 12 a.m. People call me by 12 a.m. And it's a boundary that I'm yet to put in place, especially because of the kind of thing that I do. People might be in need, or someone might be contemplating suicide and just want someone to talk to, or someone might be contemplating suicide and a friend of him or her, or just calls to let me know so that I can talk to that other person. That's why I'm not really huge on that boundary right now. But for you, whose life is not that demanding, whose vision is not that demanding, or whose purpose is not that demanding, please communicate. If you are married, if you are not married, whatever, that time that you don't want people to be calling you, communicate it. Anyone that calls you by this time. I remember when someone called me, even though I accept any kind of call by that time, if it is someone who doesn't even have anything meaningful to say, I'll be like, don't you know what time it is to call someone? Someone called me by 10 p.m. Why should you even call me by 10 p.m.? You should be in bed. I should be in bed. If I'm awake, there's something I'm doing. You don't call me by this time. He said, I'm sorry. I'm going to call you tomorrow. I said, that's good. Call me tomorrow. And don't call me by 7. Someone called me by 5 a.m. some time ago. Had nothing to say. I corrected that immediately. You don't call me by this time unless there's an emergency. Do you get it? So work on your boundaries, on your time boundaries. Who should you be spending your time with? Who is worthy of your time? It's important. It is very, very important that you know these things and you set your boundaries straight. All right? Sexual boundaries. Can we talk about it for a moment? If you're married, it's important to have sexual boundaries, okay? Even though in this kind of relationship, there is need for compromise. Maybe what you are comfortable doing, your partner might not be comfortable in it, or what you are not comfortable doing, your partner might want to try it out. So there could be a room for compromise as long as nobody is getting hurt in the process, okay? But then, how do you communicate your boundaries? How do you communicate when it's too rough? How do you communicate when it's too fast? How do you communicate when it's not comfortable anymore? You have to learn to communicate it. Don't just leave it like that. And then after each sexual encounter, you feel sore, especially as a woman. You feel sore. You feel wounded. Some of you even start bleeding because you allowed your husband to do everything and everything. So you don't enjoy sex. with your husband. It is very, very wrong. You have to learn to communicate your boundaries, or when it gets tough, when it gets uncomfortable. Honey, can we take a break? I don't feel comfortable anymore. If you need to use, okay, I'm not a sex therapist here, but just learn ways to communicate and have solutions for your boundaries, okay? Or for when it's no longer comfortable. All right. What activities am I not going to allow? Some people like, is it BSDM or BDSM? The one that they flog, the one that they tie. Some people like being explorative in bed. If your wife and if a couple find it okay, I mean, enjoy yourselves. If another person doesn't find it okay, I think it's important to talk about it. Maybe it's not something they are willing to try. So let's try other less intrusive and less painful methods, or less painful activities. Okay. Protect your right to consent and compromise. That is part of sexual boundaries. Protect your right to consent and compromise. It's very, very important. All right. So we have financial and material boundaries. Oh, bong. Gang, gang. Gang, gang, gang. For those of you who are your family's ATM and it's now beginning to get on your nerves, people call it black tax. Okay. What can I share? What am I willing to share? How much am I willing to share? Your financial and your material boundaries. How much are you willing to share with other people? Okay. Now, when people come into your house, and let's say your friend, and they get to your library, I'm talking about material boundaries now, okay? They get to your library and they collect books. They take books from your collection and go home. They didn't tell you. You later found out that they were the ones who took the book. What do you do? What do you do? Or let's say a friend comes and you have lots of cufflinks in your bedroom, and a friend just comes and takes one. What do? You know that you're not comfortable with that. What do? You just say, can you please seek my consent before you take it? Don't take anything without my consent. If I don't give my consent, please don't take it. I would appreciate it if you ask me first. We share a lot of things already, and if I'm not willing to give you this, it should be fine. And if I'm willing to give you, it should still be fine. Just let me know before you take anything. Just let me know, and then I can decide if I can give it to you or not. If I'm willing to part with it, if I'm done with it and I want to give it to you, or if I'm not done with it and I'm willing to give it to you, or if I'm not done with it and I don't want to give it to you, it's still my own. I bought it with my own money, is it not? So I need to have the right to say what goes on in my house and what doesn't. What happens to the things that I bought with my own money and what doesn't. Okay? Boundaries that protect your finances and material possessions, like how you wish to spend your money, whom to give and whom not to give. When your family sees that you're making a tangible amount of money, relatively, it's relative, and and they start taxing you, especially if you are the first son or first daughter. God bless all first sons and first daughters, because they are more like the shoulders carrying the weight of the family. Even when they are dying, they keep providing. However, you will never grow if you keep on giving like that. So let's say you're making 100,000 in a month. I know it's little. It's just an example, okay? So let's say you're making 100,000 in a month, and your own living expenses is about 30,000. You try to cut down cost, okay? But then, just before you are paid, your family have already calculated. They already know the period you're going to be paid. So they are waiting for end of the month to call you, or before the end of the month. So call you, brother, we need this. So my school fees, or Christmas clothes, or we need goat, so we've not eaten goat meat in a while. Ah, brother, my new phone. Sister, I need a new phone. This and that. They will keep making requests, and you find yourself, even before the money comes, you have finished sharing it. So when it comes, you even manage. You sometimes you don't even get up to the 30,000 you spend in a month, but you've managed to give away all the money you are supposed to keep. So having boundaries means knowing when to say no to people's demands, regardless of whom it's coming from. People's monetary demands, they will always keep asking, they will always keep requesting. And as long as you keep providing, I'm not saying you shouldn't provide, but have a percentage of your income that you're willing to give off to your family, okay, to give off to friends and to charities if you're the kind that give to charities, or to just have a percentage of your income that you give out. Have a percentage of your income that you spend, and have a percentage of your income that you invest, because how are you going to grow if you keep on spending every single dime that you get? So what if something happens tomorrow and you don't get to work in that company anymore, or that business crashes? Because I mean, life is unpredictable, right? So you have no money to fall back on when you could have had millions in your account, but you just have about 50,000 in your account because you are busy giving it out to your families and to your friends. And someone like me, any money that I see in my account, I see it as not mine, and it's not a good mindset. Any money that I see in my account must be given out. So I have to set that boundary for myself. You see, I'm not perfect either. I need to start setting boundaries, financial boundaries for myself, because I don't like saying no to people, especially when I know that I have the money to give. Okay, so let's say I have 15,000 in my account and someone needs 10,000 naira seriously. You'll see me go into my account to bring out the 10,000 and give the person, just because I feel the person needs that money more than me. And then I live on 5,000 for as long as it takes before another money comes in. So it's usually not so healthy to be so open-handed with your finances and with your material possessions. So if you have a friend who always comes to take your car while you're at work, tell the friend, please and please take my permission, seek my consent first. And if I give you consent, you can take my car to shopping or to wherever you want to take it to. But if I don't give you my consent, don't you touch my car. They're going to say, when did this one start? Well, it just started now. Okay, so another one here is spiritual or religious boundaries. You reserve the right to believe in whatsoever you want to believe in. Okay, you reserve the right to worship whom and what you want to worship. I shouldn't tell you who to worship. I shouldn't make you feel less than because of who you decide to worship. So if we are, I've seen a couple. I've seen a couple. The husband is going to Anglican church. The wife is going to Catholic church. The husband said, you can also take the kids to Catholic. Me, I'll be going to Anglican. I mean, we are worshiping the same God, but I feel more comfortable worshiping Him in this place. Like, it is a conversation that we need to have. If we can come to a compromise where we can go to the same church, fine. But if not, let us continue how we are going, as long as the peace in our family is maintained and there is no difference in religious beliefs. That's why you need to know your values and ensure that they align before you get joined together. Okay, so if you are in the midst of people who are Muslims and you're a Christian and you know that you need to pray, let's say you went for a lunch with people and most of them are Muslims, you're the only Christian there. Your Christian belief, says that you have to pray before you eat. You have to, excuse me, I need to pray before I eat my food, okay? and they're going to keep quiet and allow you to pray before you eat your food. That is respect. That is respect. Okay? Honor for your boundaries. I don't want to overstep. I don't even want to step on your boundaries, not to talk of overstepping it. And I need you also to respect my boundaries. So when it's time for me to go to the mosque and pray, don't insist on me sitting back and having a conversation with you as a Muslim. Do you understand? So let us respect each other's boundaries. It goes both ways. Remember the definition that I gave, that boundaries are respect for yourself and for others. So it goes both ways. It's not just you. This is a coin, and there are two sides to it. All right. We have emotional boundaries. Okay, this allows us to create emotional safety by not sharing information that is not appropriate for a level of relationship, a certain level or nature of a relationship. So let's say you just met someone for the first time, and they start to tell you stuff that are made for people that they are already in a relationship with. So what you need to do is just to tell them, I don't think it's necessary that we discuss this now, okay? Can we get acquainted? Can we get to this level of relationship or friendship first before we start talking of this? I'm not comfortable discussing this with you. I'm not. So when people start to ask you questions that you're not comfortable to share, that you think is inappropriate for that nature or level of relationship that you have with them, you can just tell them, I'm not comfortable discussing this. I feel embarrassed discussing this with you, or I feel embarrassed that you would even ask me this. So don't ask me questions like this or personal questions like this again, okay? Until we get more acquainted with each other. And if I'm willing to share, I will share. And if not, please respect that. I know what is best for me and I don't want to share. Okay? So learn to communicate your boundaries. This emotional and mental boundary means also that you reserve the right for your thoughts and your emotions not to be invalidated. Whatever you are feeling is valid, and no other person reserves the right to invalidate what you're feeling. So let's say your partner does something that you don't like, and you tried to communicate that to him or her, and they're telling you that is rubbish. That doesn't make sense. Hey, don't tell me that what I'm saying doesn't make sense. You could have said anything, but don't invalidate my feelings. I know exactly what I'm feeling. I know exactly my thoughts. So don't tell me it is not right or it's not true. You are not here. I am the one here. I'm the one feeling it. So don't invalidate. If you cannot accept that you made me to feel this way, don't invalidate it. It is my boundary. So they know exactly how to treat you. They know exactly how to talk to you. They know exactly how to relate to you and with you. Okay? So learn to communicate your boundaries. So how do you set boundaries? How do you set boundaries? Before we even talk about setting boundaries, I need you to understand that you are in control of your life and you are the one to determine how people treat you. You're the one to determine exactly how you want to be addressed. Now, you may not have a say in what people say. You may not really tell them what to say, but you can decide if what they tell you is acceptable or not, if you're going to allow what they tell you. So let's say they're just talking and talking and talking and someone throws a jab at you. You can laugh at it if it's okay, but don't laugh at it if it's uncomfortable. You can tell them, that wasn't cool. I don't like that. Don't make such jokes of me again. Communicate your boundaries. Communicate your boundaries. So I want you to understand also that you are in the driver's seat of your life. Just see it as that. You are in the driver's seat of your life. You are on the steering. You are on the wheel. So nobody should put their hand on your wheel to drive your life for you. That is what boundaries mean. Just keep your hand there. You can make suggestions, but please don't come and drive for me. I will not allow you to do that. Okay, so remain on the passenger seat. Don't try to play the main role in my life. This is my freaking life, for crying out loud. This is my life. This is my movie. This is my story. I play the main character. Don't try to play the main character for me. Okay? And I will not try to play your main character for you in your own story. I respect your boundaries, respect mine. It's that simple. I mean, I want peace for this relationship or in this relationship. That is why I am sharing these boundaries with you so that we can have a cordial relationship. It's understood? Okay. So you determine how people treat you by what you allow. Write that down. You determine how people treat you by what you allow. We've spent an hour, 20 minutes here. My goodness. I can't believe it. And you guys are still here. I clap for you. Oshe, thank you for being here. It means that you've been getting value from what you've been discussing here. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I love you so much. So why don't people honor our values? They don't honor our values because we don't even have them. I mean, what are they to honor if we don't have boundaries? Oh, you don't honor my value. You don't honor me. What am I to honor? So it is important before you set your boundaries that you understand that people don't value you. They don't value your worth. They don't see your worth. They don't honor your values because you don't have any. You don't have anyone that is defined. Okay? So this could come from childhood when you were taught who to be, when you are taught that you don't deserve the right to ask for what you want. You cannot ask for what you want, especially if you come from a home where you couldn't ask for anything. It's what people give you it's what your parents give you that you take. So you grow up with that mentality that you cannot ask for what you want, or that you keep saying you have no right to say yes or no. It is your choice. You can choose to say yes or no. You can choose to say yes or no to a threatening situation, to a threatening request. It is your life and you deserve to be in a safe space. So if that request or that environment is not safe for you, you have the right to make a decision to leave or to put out anything that it is that is threatening your peace and your sanity and your safety and your dignity and integrity as a person. I hope that is clear. So first thing here on how to set boundaries is to even sit back and have a conversation with yourself. First of all, you have to look at why you feel burnt out, because we've already discussed signs that you don't have boundaries, okay? Why do you feel resentful? Why do you feel sad? What are those things that you've allowed people to do to you over time? How have people not treated you well? You must be able to identify the problem so that you can find a solution to that, okay? So you have an honest conversation with yourself. Who do I want to be? This journey that I'm on right now, how do I want to be treated? I have lost myself for the longest time. Now I need to regain my voice. What do I need people to start doing to me, for me, that will help me to regain my worth? It is very, very important. Why do you need them to talk to you a certain way, to do certain things for you, and to not do certain things for you, to not make certain requests for you, to not do certain things in your space? If smoking is not allowed for you, then you tell your friends, I don't accept smoking. It's just not okay for me. So they know that they cannot smoke in your presence. And if they choose to smoke in your presence, there's a consequence. Okay, we are getting to that. So define your boundaries and why they need to be honored by others. This involves having an honest conversation with yourself about who you need to be and what matters to you. What matters to you? Your sanity, your safety, your peace of mind. Your sanity, safety, peace of mind, and sense of worth. What are those things that revolve around these four things that you need people to respect? You write them down, you make them clear, because if it's not clear, if your boundaries are not clear, people will not be clear on how to treat you. I keep saying that if you don't have boundaries or if they're not clear, people will not treat you as well as you would want to be treated. Okay? So this also involves being aware of what you have been allowing others to do to you and what you need to do to put a stop to it. Okay? What shouldn't be done and said around you? What shouldn't be said to you and what shouldn't be done around you? Those are part of your boundaries. Hey, you can't use the F word around me. Hey, you can't play this kind of music around me. Hey, these things are not allowed by me. You cannot insult an elderly person in my presence. You cannot slut shame a woman in my presence. You cannot body shame any person in my presence. You cannot insult any human being in my presence, be it old or young. You are communicating your boundaries to your friends. Is that clear? So they know that whenever you are there, they just cannot. Even if they were doing that before you came there, they're going to just keep mum. Because your boundaries are your boundaries and they need to respect it. Okay? So after setting your boundaries, you communicate your boundaries. I've already talked about that. You communicate your boundaries. It is unfair to be mad at someone for dishonoring your boundaries when they didn't even know that you had boundaries. Okay? So when you have set boundaries, let's say you're in a relationship and you don't like that your spouse always calls you mean names when you have disagreements, and you are choosing a different path right now to regain your worth. So you sit the person down. Honey, I realize I haven't talked to you about this before, but I'm choosing a better version of me. I'm choosing my sanity first. And you know how we talk and we have a disagreement and you call me those mean names. They are degrading to me and I'm choosing today not to allow them to continue any further. If we're in disagreement, call me by my name or call me whatever name you've been calling me, but don't call me any demeaning name. I will not accept that. Okay? I will not accept it. It is a deal breaker for me. Don't do it to me again. That is your boundary. You've just communicated it. If your siblings are used to barging into your room, you call them, you have a conversation with them, you tell them, hey, look, I understand that we are one here, but I need you to knock before you get into my room. Okay, especially if I am inside, knock. Then if I give you consent to come in, come in. If I don't, please stay out. I need to protect my sanity. Communicate your boundaries. Communicate it. It's important because if you don't, nobody will be able to honor it because they don't even know that it is there. Now, I need you to understand something, that when you start to communicate your boundaries, the people who are used to the boundaryless you, they are going to protest. Why? Because you've allowed them to treat you that way for a very long time. So they are used to talking to you like that. They are used to just saying those mean things around you, just doing those things that you don't want them to do anymore around you. So it's not like they don't like you, but this is a different thing. This is a new thing for them. So they're going to protest. They're going to want to see if you're going to change your mind on your boundaries. But it is now in your place to stay firm. Now, this is where it gets interesting. Okay, so you've defined your boundaries, you've communicated your boundaries. You have to put a consequence on your boundaries. So anyone who breaks your boundaries, this is the consequence. Because like Ivanla said, boundaries without consequence is just empty threat. If you're just putting out boundaries and there is no consequence to anyone who fails or dishonors your boundaries, then you're just putting out empty threats. So let's say now, in that conversation with your significant other or with your friend, let's say with your roommate, you tell them, don't talk to me a certain way anymore. Don't use mean words on me again when we are discussing, when we are joking, when we're having an argument. If you do, I'm going to walk out on on you until you are willing to adjust. That is a consequence. Okay, so you've defined your boundary, you've communicated it to that friend, and you've put a consequence to that. So let's say to your siblings, they keep barging into your room and you've told them, I don't like it, let me know before you come in. If you continue coming without letting me know, I'm not going to. If there's a privilege that they get from you, you tell them, I'm going to withdraw that privilege. What you have done is that you have put a penalty on your boundaries. So anyone who breaks that rule will have to face the consequence. Now, it gets tricky here because you will be tempted to not follow through. You don't draw a line, and when someone oversteps that line, you go to draw another line. No, immediately they overstep that line, you immediately affect the consequences of overstepping that line. It is very, very important. Very, very important. Now, you have to learn to also be flexible, because when you begin to, especially if you're new to certain boundaries, you have to learn to be flexible because this is new to them. So they need to keep learning until they adjust completely to your new set of rules. So it's important that you create room for errors and forgiveness. But then, if you're in an argument and your significant other or your friend, whoever, calls you those names you told them not to call, you stop the argument and you tell them, I know I've communicated this to you before. Don't call me these names. And you just did. So I'm going to walk out of this conversation and I'm going to come back later so that we can continue. So you've made room, you were flexible with that, but that consequence has to be there. But listen, if that relationship continues to invalidate your boundaries, be willing to surrender that relationship. If that person is not willing to honor your boundaries, be willing to surrender that relationship for your sanity, for your peace of mind. If you have someone who would always hold you by the waist and you've communicated it to that person, especially someone of the opposite gender, and you've communicated it to that person, can you please stop holding me on the waist? I don't like it. If you hold me on the waist again, I'm going to walk out on you and I'm not going to take your calls for the next 3 days. And when it is done over and over and over, and it's clear to you that this person just doesn't want to honor my values or my boundaries, then you have to cut off that relationship. Because if you remain there, you'll be tempted to come down or to reduce your boundaries or to make room for that kind of misbehavior and mistreatment and dishonor in your life. And that is not what you want. At this point in your life, you need to take yourself seriously to the point where nobody that challenges your sanity or challenges your safety or threatens your safety is allowed in your space. All right? So whatever you do, whatever relationship that you have, set boundaries for yourself. Set boundaries for others. It will not take out the right people. The right people will even thank you. Oh, I've been hoping that you would tell me exactly how to love you. I've been hoping that you would tell me exactly how to talk to you because I've been trying to figure it out on my own. But thank you for communicating it to me. I will try to keep to that. The wrong people will tell you, why did you even try to do that? Now, I'm going to tell you now, learn to say no. This will be where I'll end. Learn to say no. And like Vusi will say, no is a complete sentence. I'm still learning that. I'm still learning to understand that no is a complete sentence. How do I mean? When I tell people no, I'm sorry, I can't. I don't stop at, I'm sorry, I can't. After I'm sorry, I can't, I continue and continue and continue just to give them reasons why I can't honor their invitation or why I can't do what they are asking for or why I can't give in to their requests. But learn that sorry, I'm sorry, I can't is a complete sentence. No, no, full stop, is a very complete sentence. I've used no a few times and it felt really good, but I still felt I think they need a little bit of explanation. But it is not necessary. Remember when I told you before that I'm going to tell you why it is not necessary? This is why it is not necessary. Because when you tell people the reason you are saying no or the reason you are declining their request, they are going to invalidate that reason and give you more reasons to say yes to their request. And you can't just keep saying no, 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 no. So if you give them a reason, oh, I'm sorry, I can't make it to the party tonight. I need to stay back. My husband is not at home. I need to stay back with the kids. That friend of yours will be like, but you have a nanny. They can leave the kids with the nanny and come out. What do you say? Oh, I forgot. Yeah, but my car broke down this evening. I'm not sure how. Okay, I could come pick you up. Do you keep saying no? You see why it is not good to keep giving explanations. Just say, no, I cannot. You can even just to be a little more sassy, you can say, for reasons best known to me. So they don't even know what the reason is. And they rest. But the more you keep giving them reasons you can't give in to their request, the more they try to make you give in to their request. And it's just going to be an unending war or argument. And at the end of the day, you will not be the one to start looking bad, looking like a bad person because all your reasons have been invalidated by them. And it's just clear that you don't want to be with them. Does that make sense to anybody here? And that is where we end for today's class. An hour, 37 minutes. That is unbelievable. This is the longest conversation we've had on this show. My goodness. Did you get anything? Let me know. Let me know. Did you get anything from this conversation? Let me know. Let me know. Let me know. Let me know. Thank you very much. I see Juliet Okoye. I see Rebecca. I see Mona Foster. Who else did I see? I see Isaac Samuel, our comedian. Daddy J.O. I'll be Daddy G.O. Thank you very much. Finyolua. Finyfololua. Finyfolua. Yes, I got that. Thank you. Haruna Abbas, thanks for being here. Who else? Faith Akoye, I think I saw her comment some time ago. Thanks for being here. Ofo Udom. Udom, thanks for being here. Ibiale, thanks for being here. Favor Dinaka, Lucky Nathan. Debbie Sings, thanks for being here. Tamarakuro Mary, I suck at calling names. Okay, I don't suck at calling names. I would learn to call names better. Yeah, I can't say negative words to myself. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Rebecca said, I have been struggling to set boundaries. This will help me. I am glad. I'm glad to read that. Precifying says, thank you so much, Chinaza. Thank you very much also for being here. Adenike says, wow, the time's worth it, ma. I'm glad to hear that. Thank you very much. Patrick Precious says, yeah, the session is worth the time. Thank you. I'm really glad to hear that. It's really because I know that YouTube is not a platform that you guys are really used to being on live like this. So I understand the sacrifice you took. It took you to be here. I appreciate it, because if you're not here, I mean, I just be talking to myself, right? But you just made the conversation worth it. Thank you very much for being here. And next week, we have another wonderful topic to discuss. It will be shared in the Telegram group. If you've not joined our Telegram group, please join. Please join at Chinaza Favor TV on Telegram. All right, that is where we put up new updates. Like Rebecca, that was where she saw that we'd gone live. So ensure to join our Telegram group. Okay, Patrick Precious is saying, can you take questions? Of course, I can take questions. Let's see what you have. If you have questions, please put it in the comment section, okay? Before we go off. Thank you again. Thank you for being here. Again, it is not up to you to decide how people are going to treat you that much, but it's up to you to decide if you are going to allow the way they treat you. So we treat you the way you allow us to treat you. We talk to you the way you allow us to talk to you. So it's all about what you allow. It's all about what you accept. It's all about what you allow. It's all about what you accommodate and what you tolerate. Okay? So for your sanity, for your safety, for your integrity. Wow. Sanity, safety, integrity, all the TTs. For your sanity and your safety and your integrity, just learn to set boundaries for yourself. It's for you to be in the best state to serve others. You don't have to get burnt out in the name of serving others or in the name of just being a people pleaser. No, you have to earn your worth. Don't think that, I'm waiting for your question, Patrick Precious. That's why I'm still here. So don't think that you have to do a certain thing to earn the respect of others or to earn the approval of others. No, actually, you earn their respect when you set boundaries for yourself and stick to it. Okay? Rebecca is asking, what is your advice for a person who is weak inward to set boundaries? I mean, look at all you stand to lose. Look at your state of mind right now. Are you happy with it? The only way to get out of that state of mind that you have right now is to set boundaries for yourself, is to discover yourself, is to set values, to have a set of values that you need to live by, and you communicate it to others. And as a matter of fact, you don't call yourself weak. You see, we manifest what we call ourselves. So if you keep calling yourself weak, or you keep saying that I am weak in words, there's nothing you do that is going to be effective. So tell yourself that you're strong enough to carry this, that you are worth it, that you are worthy, that you are enough. So you learn who you are, you learn your journey, you learn what you can accept in your life, what you can tolerate, and what you just cannot tolerate in your life. And you start communicating it to people. You can't talk to me this way. You can't treat me this way. You can't do this around me. You can't do this and do that. You keep communicating this until people learn to do what? Accept your boundaries and honor them. And if they're not willing to honor them, they're not supposed to be in your life. You want people who honor and value you, value your boundaries. You want the right people in your circle. You want the right people in your life. So it is important that you set boundaries so you can attract those right people in your life. So I like to see boundaries as a semi-permeable membrane. So it only allows the right people in. All those larger molecules don't get into the cell. It's only the right ones that get in. So that's how I say boundaries. They keep only the wrong ones out and bring the right people in. So you're not weak inward. You just don't think that you are strong enough to set boundaries for yourself. So stand up for yourself, learn who you are, learn your worth, get on a journey to self-discovery. And when you do, set values for yourself and communicate that value for others to follow and honor for you. All right. Okay. What other question do I have here? Though one of the questions was answered in the intrapersonal category of setting boundaries, but I'd like to ask, do setting boundaries have a negative part? The negative part that I see in setting boundaries is to the people who are not willing to honor that boundary. Okay? You set boundaries for you to feel safe. You set boundaries to create a safe space for yourself. You're not hurting anyone. You are just reinstating things that make you feel safe, things that make you feel honored, things that make you feel seen, things that make you keep a safe homeostasis around you. So there's no negative part to it as long as you are concerned. It's only concerning and bad to the people who are not willing to honor you, who are used to the person that didn't have boundaries, so the you that didn't have boundaries. And so they are not comfortable with the you that has boundaries and is communicating it to them. And that is okay. I mean, you don't want the wrong people in your life, okay? There's no negative part to it. As far as I'm concerned, we can't be in everyone's good book. Remember, you can't be everything to everyone. You cannot be everything to everyone. And there's another question, are there tendencies that one can set a boundaries that's detrimental to their sanity, peace, or well-being? Those ones are not boundaries, if you ask me. If it makes you restless, if it's not safe for you, then you're setting barriers, not boundaries. Okay, boundaries are different from barriers. Boundaries are supposed to keep you safe. Boundaries are supposed to keep you safe. There is no negative effect to boundaries as far as you're concerned. It is only negative to the people that are on the other side of the fence. But if you see that the boundaries you are setting are, and when you mean to their sanity and peace, how do you mean exactly? Because I don't think there is a possibility for that actually. When you communicate your boundary to your partners and to your friends and well-wishers, they are supposed to honor that value. They're supposed to honor those boundaries and treat you the way you want to be treated. So I don't see why it should be detrimental to your peace and to your sanity or well-being. When you set boundaries to eat healthy food, when you set boundaries to get away from circles that don't serve you, when you set boundaries to only speak positive words to yourself, how is it supposed to be detrimental to your well-being? So boundaries are supposed to keep you safe. They're supposed to keep you together. They're supposed to make you whole. They're supposed to make you feel okay. They're supposed to make you feel respected and honored and seen. So they're not detrimental to your health in any way. Okay? Mona Foster said, I've cut a lot of people off for crossing my boundaries, even when I didn't communicate it clearly to them. I'm learning to act better now. Thank you. Thank you. So what you did was a barrier that you set. You didn't give them a chance to even learn what your boundaries are, and you just cut them off. You ghosted them, and that is a myth that boundaries have. It's a myth that boundaries are ghosting. That certain boundaries means ghosting people or ignoring them. So respect for others also means that you tell them exactly how you want to be treated, or that they reserve the right to know that they didn't treat you well, and you tell them. Okay? Now, if you can only cut them off if they repeatedly do it, if they repeatedly dishonor your boundaries. But doing that at first, just cutting them off, I mean, it's not wise to do. I'm glad you have learned better, to act better now. And God bless you too. Patrick Precious says, thank you so much, Ma. I know now that I'm doing no wrong. All right. So, do you have any more questions? I'll be going off now. Thank you very much for being here. Thank you very much. I appreciate your presence. I appreciate you being here. Thank you. And I'll see you next Thursday. Remember, Honest Conversations holds every Thursday. And have you subscribed to my YouTube channel? I should go and blow something for you, Abby. I should swear for you. Go and subscribe to my YouTube channel and like the video, share with your friends. If anybody that you know needs this session, share with them so that they can learn to also, set boundaries in their lives too, in all the different areas of their lives that they need to set boundaries in, and communicate their worth and their values too. Thank you for being here. I appreciate you. And Rebecca, you are laughing. And I'll see you next week for another honest conversation. Thank you for being here. Bye. See you next week.